Over the course of this unit, we will read a number of short stories, and in the process, we will look at the conventions of short stories, so what defines them. We will explore how characters are presented. We will also look at what structure is and how the choices writers make about structure affects the story. We will explore themes and ideas and issues within the stories, and hopefully just enjoy reading short stories for themselves. So today, we are going to think about why stories are important. We will examine the conventions of short stories and read a short story by Roald Dahl called Lamb to the Slaughter. We will then use these conventions to evaluate how far Lamb to the Slaughter meets them. During this set of lessons, you will be asked to write answers to questions and complete tasks. A Google form will be provided with each lesson to allow you to submit your work. However, if you prefer to do your work in a Word document and submit it, or alternatively handwrite your answers and upload photographs, these options are also acceptable. Stories are older than the written word. We find them in every culture across time, showing just how important stories are. In just our culture alone, stories span time from Beowulf to Chaucer and Shakespeare, to Dickens, the Brontes, Austen, through to the Romantic poets and Philip Pullman and J.K. Rowling. Hopefully you'll remember some of those names from the timeline you studied in Year 7. Stories are everywhere, and not just between the pages of a book. You'll find them in your favourite movies and programmes, in computer games, in the tales you tell your friends to spook them, or when you share an embarrassing moment. We even find them in television adverts. The car Mini Cooper made a series of adverts with the catchphrase, "It's a mini adventure," and each ad consisted of an extremely short adventure had with the car. Bisto Gravy made a series of adverts showing how a mum and her Sunday dinners were the glue that bound the family together. Christmas adverts often employ a story format. Pause this video and go back to Google Classrooms and click on the link for the 2014 Sainsbury's Christmas advert. Watch it and think about the story it is telling. When I was younger, my mum read Stig of the Dump by Clive King to me. It's about a boy called Barney who, while exploring the countryside, comes across a cave and a strange boy who wears rabbit skins and communicates with grunts. A friendship develops between Barney and the cave boy, and the book details their adventures. It caught my imagination, and I remember wishing that I could have a friend just like Stig. I'd like you to think of a story you enjoyed when you were younger. And just like mine, it doesn't have to be one that you read. It could have been read to you by a parent or a teacher or by somebody else. But I'd like you to also consider what it is about the book that makes it so special or memorable. Listed on this slide are 8 statements that talk about why stories are important. 3 come from authors, and you will find their name at the end of the statement. I'd like you to carefully read all 8 and decide which you agree with the most and to explain why. Look at the conventions of short stories. By conventions, we mean the rules that short stories follow. So what we're really asking is what makes them different to longer stories and novels. Well, obviously, they're shorter, and this has an impact on a number of other factors. So number 1, short stories will be less complex and will often have one simple plot being the main events that happen in the story. In contrast, novels will have more complex and detailed plots. They may also have subplots, which are less significant storylines that run alongside the main detailed plot. Number 2, short stories usually focus on one incident or event, and because of the limited space, readers are often thrown into the incident or event without much information as to what has happened before. Number 3. Also due to short stories being shorter and more simplistic, there will be less need for a large number of characters. Number 4. But be careful. While descriptions of characters and setting and time may be brief, it does not mean that short stories do not use imagery and descriptive language such as metaphors and similes.